Today's show, this is a show, Miracles, Magic, and Coffee. My name is Ralph Havens. I am a physical therapist, integrative manual therapist, certified in matrix energetics and other modalities, peace process, instant miracle technique, lots of certifications. And healing has been my thing for my whole life, really. This show is about how to heal, how to heal. And if you're dealing with a chronic health condition, you can check this out and see if it helps you. One of the things I was talking about before I realized we weren't live on YouTube yet is that there's some things you can do that are free, and one of them is really powerful, and that's to go 100% gluten free. And you can give that a try. And if you would like my ebook, just reach out to me and I'll send you my ebook for free about the reasons to go gluten free, the implications if you do go gluten free, and how to do it. And it's the kind of thing I've seen this over and over again. I just saw this morning with a client who had some significant health conditions and went gluten free for a period of time, but wasn't sure if it was like the whole thing, and ended up getting a little gluten, and her symptoms came roaring back. So she got good confirmation. It was a good test because now she knows that if she just stays gluten free, these health conditions are not there. And we've seen it over and over again with the 300 medical conditions that in the peer reviewed scientific journals. If you get off of gluten, they can improve. A lot of them can just go away. So that's a little extra today to give a try. And reach out to me if you want to really try it, because 99% gluten free doesn't work, but 100% does. So that's a free bit of advice that if you run with it, it can change your life, literally change your life. Now, today I want to talk about something else that's also something that's for free that can change your life, and it's very empowering. So, and we'll be having Dr. Tom on in just a little bit to talk about this in more depth, and that's breathing. So, there's an interesting phenomenon that happens when you breathe through your mouth, and something else that happens when you breathe through your nose. You would think that breathing through your mouth would get you a lot more oxygen, but it's really quite the opposite. And what's interesting, Jen was breastfeeding Baden, and she noticed that, yeah, Baden has to breathe through his nose because he's latched on. And when he's latched on, his tongue is in a certain position. And so babies that are breastfed early in life, especially for a few years, they learn to breathe in through their nose. And there's lots of reasons that that's very, very profound, very, very good for somebody's health if they learn to breathe through their nose. Mouth breathers are some of the sickest people. And then you've got the sleep apnea and the snoring and all that sort of thing. So breathing through your nose is really important. And tongue position is very important. If your tongue is on the roof of your mouth, that's a much more healthy way to live than if it's in the middle or the bottom of your mouth. And so that whole apnea, sleep apnea, sinus problems, allergy problems, a lot of anxiety problems can be affected by just learning to breathe through your nose. So a simple thing to do, and it's free, you just got to give it a try, is to practice throughout the day, whether you're walking or running or gardening or exercising or hanging around, is to leave your lips closed and just breathe in and out through your nose. And you can even try it right now. Just breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose. And you can slow down your breathing. See if you can take a longer time to breathe in through your nose. And an even longer time to breathe out through your nose. And when you breathe in through your nose, you can expand your lungs on all sides and way low. And when you breathe out through your nose, you can let every bit of it out from every little part of your lungs. And so just play with that. I hear the phone ringing. It might be Dr. Tom. He might be having a hard time getting on. I'm going to send him another link message. So while we're waiting for him, breathe in through your nose, breathe out through your nose, and let's see what you notice. And I'd love to hear the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, let me know. I'm going to share this in our, oh, there's Tom. So we're about to join Tom. This is exciting. Let's see.
Hi, Ralph.
Tom, good to see you.
You too, sir.
Yeah, it's been a while. We've been busy on both ends.
Yeah.
On a little sort of side note, anything you see with our son Baden would be awesome. He was on a ledge that's about 6 feet off the ground, and there was a game of tag going on, and somehow he got bumped and ended up falling all the way down 6 feet. And he's only like 3 feet tall, and he landed on his feet, we think, and he didn't even cry that much. And Jen later that night, yesterday, said, Ralph, yeah, I forgot to tell you, this happened to Baden. And I'm like, what? And I noticed he's like limping. So I worked on him, and he's like, at the end of the night, he was trying to run again. And I was telling him, just walk, because he wasn't limping anymore. And he's just barely limping. I think if we'll just put him into the mix, and if there's any kind of words of wisdom or my treatment plan for Baden, that'd be awesome. It's funny when it happens to your kids, it makes you go, everything stops in the world, and we're going to work on Baden. So I'm putting that into the mix today. Yeah. And then the other part that I thought would be cool today, Jen is reading an amazing book called Breathe by James Nestor. I guess it's nouns right now. And so we've been playing with this nose breathing thing, and I've been running with my lips closed, and it's really quite interesting. My body works better when I'm just breathing through my nose, even though it's a little hard in some ways. And Jen's been putting a little surgical tape on her lips to keep them closed at night, and she's no longer snoring. She used to snore a little bit. So I thought today's session, if you want to go somewhere else, let me know. It's great. But I thought it would be kind of cool to talk about breathing, and because you had mentioned earlier that 70% of our detox happens with our breathing in our lungs. So
right.
What do you think?
Yes, it's breathing's a really, yogic breathing has been around for years, and Chinese medicine breathing, and there's a right side, left side breathing pattern, and there's a lot of good things in the breath work out there.
Yeah,
and a lot of people hold their breath.
Yeah.
So,
Tom, I got to ask you something. Every time I come up with something that's new to me, or like a new twist on it, it seems like you've already researched it to the nth degree. And you and Sharon had that. Like, do you give us a little glimpse into your world of, like, do you just read research all the time, or how do you guys know that stuff?
Well, my partner Nancy has a photographic memory also.
Oh.
So when the Red Book came out, you used to be able to ask her, well, what page is this thing on? What page is that? And she would go, I think that's 93, or that's 54. And she'd have that.
Oh.
She's an awesome clinician that way, where we haven't seen a client in 10 to 20 years. And she'll say, oh yeah, they had a kid, they were working here, this is what happened. So she remembers everybody that way.
Wow.
I don't recognize a face after they get up off the table, but I'll see them in the grocery store. I don't really remember them, but if I put my hand on, all their story comes back to me.
Interesting. The story comes back.
Yeah. So I, within 5 minutes of doing integrated manual therapy, oh yeah, you had 3 kids, you did this, you did that, and we're working on this. So, I possibly addressed that my earlier attention deficit disorder really helps keep these fragments just floating in the air, right? So pieces of research here, pieces of research there, and they just
Awesome.
fall into different places, different times and stuff. And
Yeah, it seems like you like something you go through a certain thing like, oh, breathing is like, oh yeah, there's this and this and this and this from yoga and qigong and science
yeah,
and IMT, and it's just super cool. So yeah, what's your take on breathing? Because the thing that was kind of cool also, I've been seeing all these success stories from people that do the breathing through the nose and different ways to breathe through the nose, and like surgically taping their lips together at night, and all sorts of medical conditions go away. And, you know, I was talking earlier before we got on that one way to help with health is just to give it a try, 100% gluten-free, and you'll be surprised at what goes away that you think is
right.
a condition that you're going to chiropractors for and doctors, and you've been dealing with something for a long time, from anxiety to depression to physical conditions. And so that's a free thing that you can just do and empower yourself. And breathing is like right there. We do it every day. What do you see in the world of breathing? And you know, any what do you give us some what do you
Well, let's go back to the gluten-free thing. So I was working with a client yesterday, and she said her daughter just spent $3,000 on the cat that has asthma.
I don't mean to laugh, sorry, but yeah, we can help with that.
Yeah, for one visit. And you know, this cat is this whole woman's real world and everything else. And I believe pets do deserve as much as other souls to be taken care of.
Yes.
So bar that. And then I wrote back and said, have you tried gluten-free before you put her on this pharmaceutical medication? And her daughter writes back snarky about, you know, cats don't need, don't worry about gluten. And I went and pulled up 8 articles on cat asthma and gluten-free. So let's go back to even having asthma as a breathing difficulty. So asthma is a condition, and you know, I see everything on a spectrum. So you may have asthma and this next person may have allergies, but they're almost the same thing, just different tissues. Or somebody else may have a rash,
Yeah.
or somebody else may have PMS. So all 4 of those conditions are telling me that that person can't handle toxins in their body.
Yeah,
Right.
there's a connection with that PMS and toxins. Some people might be going, what? But yeah, that whole liver toxicity thing and
Yeah.
hormones. Yep.
And going back, you know, 6,000 years in Chinese medicine, those are expressions of liver and kidney dysfunction when you need to stress those out. So, you know, asthmatics should go on that diet of no gluten, no sugar, no peanuts, no almonds, and that can significantly change their behaviors that way.
Yeah.
And then the real question is, if I don't have an allergy and you don't have an allergy, and the next person has an allergy to even cats or something, why, instead of blaming the cat or the dog on the allergy, it's asking, well, why are you a being that's getting allergic to the stuff? What's causing you to have a reaction to it? Instead of like just numbing it up with, you know, Benadryl or other things along the way. So the people that really have a hard breathing process, it's an inflammatory issue and it's an autoimmune issue to the process. And then, you know, we have an exercise book, and we have breathing exercises in there, you know, and we have vocalizations in there.
We do IMT. Is it?
Yeah, exercise 2 book.
Oh, the exercise 2 book. Okay, the neck book.
Right.
Yeah, the neck.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes away headaches and it helps breathing exercises. And we have people, you know, from chanting. There's when we were saying the chants, or even holding even certain sounds, like if you say N, it goes up into your nose. And O is in the back of the throat, and M is down in the heart. So even breathing out, saying those words will actually vibrate those tools up and down and help with those pains.
That's
that way.
cool, because yeah, we always like to see people's tongues on the roof at rest. yet it's useful to do these sounds to get different parts, even though the tongue goes at the bottom with the M.
Right. So you just mentioned one of our diagnostic tools. Everybody just sits in their chair appropriately and sits so that they're sitting up straight and their feet flat on the ground and their chin tucked and their ears over their shoulders. You should be able to close your mouth and put your tongue on the top of the roof of your mouth and create a swallow without any pain or discomfort. If you have some pain or discomfort, you are dysfunctional. You do have a problem. And the longer you let it go, it may turn into a headache, a vision problem, a hearing problem. But if you can't do that, that's the bare edge of being normal.
Yeah. So many people these days on CPAP machines and have trouble breathing at night and snoring and sleeping on 4 or 5 pillows. And
yeah. So all that is kind of scary. And then depending on the breathing patterns, they have some significance in how long you hold the breathing pattern, and taping the lips shut and actually getting your nostrils to work is really a significant piece of that piece. And in the newsletter I send you every week, we've talked about this bone called the ethmoid bone that sits back in here. And nobody's ever really heard about the ethmoid bone, but when they're doing deviated septum work, which is a common surgery, the nose guys, they're actually tearing that whole bone out. And it's very, right, the two upper conches of the nose, we have 3 little fins inside the nose, and it's like almost like the fins on a radiator, and they're there to provide more area so that when the air comes through, we can smell better. And that's where our nerve endings are. And there are 3 little fins that come out, and those fins also guide into your maxillary sinuses and your frontal sinuses and your ethmoid sinus. And so when ENTs, they just go in and say, well, you have a deviated septum, let's rip that out, or your sinus is clogged, and they go drill in there without, they just take a jackhammer in there and mess things up. But that's pretty core to the central of the brain. And you know that it runs our whole nervous system pump in their direction. It also goes and works on our third eye in meditations and chakra work too. So
yeah, and you have a technique that you showed us in the last class to open up that whole area, and it helps in a lot of ways. And reach out to me and I can point you towards that if anybody likes. It's a technique. It's a skill thing, but it was really powerful. It is really powerful.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I forgot.
And so even, this is all still about breathing. Kids that are thumb suckers are actually trying to pull their whole cranial system out and to get a better piece of it. So all those are involved in breathing techniques. So I've heard of a number of people and tried, taping the lips sealed and breathing in and breathing out through the nose. When you keep your lips sealed, your tongue is pulled away from the back of the throat. So that also helps with that snoring.
So a simple thing to do, gluten-free, and play with nose breathing. And if you want, you can use surgical tape so it's not going to make an irritation of your skin, and try that. Jen's been doing that. Yeah, and then if you need more help, then there's ways like the IMT neck book, head and neck book has a lot of exercises in there, and you could reach out to me and Tom, and we can point you to more. And of course, sometimes you just need some treatment to fix this stuff up. When I was a kid, it was junior high, I believe, and I was playing basketball, and I went around to get the ball, and the person was turning at the same time, and everybody stopped and said, "Ralph, you got to go home." And I was like, "What?" So I went home, and my left side of my nose was flat. It was flat. Oh my God, I've shattered my nose. I'll never be the same. And my parents came home later, and we went to this old timey doctor, and we were in Wisconsin, and he got 2 little sticks and put Vaseline on them, and then stuck them in my left nostril and popped the cartilage back out. And then years later, I was getting Rolfing, and one of the techniques in the Rolfing thing that I was getting done to me, he put his finger in, and he was a big guy and had big fingers. He put his finger in each nostril and did some rolfing, like to open up the space. And the left one was still really tight, but he improved that. And then later I found out that, oh yeah, if you breathe in through your left nostril, it relaxes you. And if you breathe in through your right one, it kind of amps you up. And so I was wondering, wow, I wonder if that contributed to my anxiety that I had been dealing with, was that I had crunched my left side of my nose.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. Yeah, different sides, we correct different parts of the brain, and they do different types of energies all on up and down the body. So
body is so intricate. It's like, it's amazing, the intelligence in there. Yeah, I was talking before we got on about how one of my mentors got banned from Facebook because he's a business coach guy, and he was just mentioning some stuff, and not even, I mean, it was really crazy, just mentioning stuff about what's going on in the world right now, and they banned him. And I thought, well, I don't think we're going to get banned, because all we're talking about is changing your diet, gluten-free, and breathing. So I think we're safe.
we're in good company if we get kicked off, right?
Yeah, that's true. That is really true. Yeah. Anything else you want to share today about life stuff? You've got so much stuff going on. And if you're a practitioner, you really should know Tom, West Hartford, Connecticut, and his school, Integrated Manual Therapy School. I'm in the Pacific Northwest, Bellingham, Washington, and we're both doing more and more online because that's how the world turned out. And yet it's still useful to have in-person stuff. You know,
A Zoom call.
Yeah, almost whenever you need to get off too, Tom. I was thinking, you know, if we were closer, I'd go land on Tom's table because my shoulder's still a little tight after that fall, which was like 3 months ago. And even though I'm doing all my energetic work and it's getting better, it's like sometimes you just need to get on a table and have somebody fix you up. So,
yeah.
No, if you need help, even though it's harder to travel these days, I tell you, being on Tom's table, I've been on Tom's table for hours, and it's a useful thing. Anything else you want to say about anything, Tom?
No, it's just a really strange time out there. You know, we just, had that Minnesota thing pass where we're doing Black Lives Matter, and everybody's got a lot of fear about vaccinations and the health of them. There's lots of resources out there that we can support people with before and afterwards and helping people get better. So far the research is that, I think 1 out of 20 people are getting affected by getting the vaccinations and getting a little sick afterwards. And we're doing research now, and there's actually, the initial piece, and then with the Pfizer and the Moderna pieces, they've been out for about 2 months, and we're finding a secondary issue of fatigue and weakness in clients after that piece.
Yeah, we have a good friend of ours here that's a naturopath and an acupuncturist, great guy, and he's finding similar weakness things going on. And we have a client that had a very strange pattern of unexplained weakness in the arms. Quite interesting. There was a post in the Bellingham Healer Facebook group, and a guy, he used to be in San Diego. I knew him way a long time ago, a rolfer, and he just asked like, hey, what are you guys doing with the vaccine? And what are you guys thinking? And so there was all the discussion about I'm doing it or I'm not doing it. And I just posted, I said, it would be good. We owe it to our clients, at least. We owe it to our clients to just go read the actual research studies that were used when they were doing the beginning clinical trials, because it's still in a big clinical trial phase. And just read what it's called the endpoint of the study. And the endpoint means like, what were they using as the reference? What were they going to say is like, this is a success because it did this. And it's really quite interesting what they were determining. This will be a success if this vaccine does this. It's quite different than what people are saying in public and even in the news in places of what this thing supposedly does good for people. And so I just, whatever you believe, I think it's like, it's worth it to our families and our clients and us. Just go find the actual research, and if you have questions, try to piece through it, help get somebody that knows how to read science a little bit, and just read the graphs and you know, like what did they find in the study? Because I read that stuff and it's like, oh, that's what they were doing. That's what's called, that's effective. That's why they're saying it's effective. It's quite different. And if you just to kind of point you to it, there's a difference between what's called COVID-19 and SARS-CoV-2. And if you don't know the difference, you might want to do a little research.
Yeah.
I hope we don't get banned. I guess I.
Yeah. Before they come knocking on my door.
Yeah, I've got a mutual friend, client of ours that says it's so comforting to see you and Dr. Tom. You would know her, but anyway, we're reaching people. I've got a friend that is quite vocal about stuff, and she's getting blasted all the time. And but then she had somebody that was very against her for the past, and then reached out back to her and said, "Oh, thank you for doing. I'm so sorry. I'm so glad you're doing it." And she's like, "Oh wow, I guess it makes a little difference." So whatever your truth is, it's good to get it out, you know.
Yeah. So yeah, if you call me in about a half hour, Ralph, I can give you a list of things for your son.
Oh, thanks, Tom. Oh man, thank you. Well, I appreciate that. And yeah, I feel this is a pretty good place. It's like breathe through your nose. Give it a try. Reach out to me and Tom, and try 100% gluten free. Man, if you do those two things, holy cow! And I haven't even told you yet, Tom. I did something with 19 people, a beta test a couple months ago, where we took people in every day for Monday through Friday. We did healing sessions with inner stuff, the imposter syndrome, the anxiety, the fear, to help them succeed in life, you know, the entrepreneurs of the world. And we're releasing it again now, the second version. And so it's been a really cool thing. And if anybody wants information about that, I can get you to it. I just made a couple little videos that I'm going to put out there. So because these days, I think a lot of us have a lot of stuff that we can help other people with. And I tell you, people need us these days. If you're a healer, an entrepreneur, if you do good in the world, the stuff that holds people back is the fear. It's the stuff that, you know, it's the stuff, the anxiety, and there's a way to go clear it. So let me know if you want some help with that. I can point you to what we're up to, and I'll reach out to you, Tom, because yeah, Tom's, I don't know how to say it. Like Tom is my, I keep him in my back pocket and pull him out. Because if something's happening that needs some significant help health-wise, Tom is the man to call. So anyway, I just want to put that out there. So
Thank you.
And yeah, I'll see you soon then, Tom. Thanks a lot, man.
All right. Thank you, Ralph. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye, you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna sign off, you guys, and you can find me at I guess the place to find me would be ralphhavens.com/crush imposter syndrome, and that will get you to an email list. So I'll post it somewhere. All right, you guys, have a great day, and I will see